Good morning, everybody. Take heart. We have finally cleared all of the positions where the Seahawks have a significant need at, in my view. We are now down to the positions where there is a modest need, like a little bit of a need, an arguable need, or maybe no real need at all. I think we still have to explore all options because the team is in a kind of unique situation right now. But we have gotten through every position where the Seahawks have an urgent need. So at this point, we're doing pretty good. We've gotten all the way through the defensive line, the interior offensive line. We've addressed things like receiver depth, running back depth. We're doing good. But now we take a look at a couple of positions where I think we could use a little bit of help. Not necessarily a lot of help. I think we're doing okay. I think we could get through 2023 fine as is, but you can get better. Just a couple positions like this year. But as of right now, I'm going to spend some time talking about the edge rushers. Specifically, in a 3-4 defense, I'm talking about your outside linebackers. Outside linebacker. We are pretty good there. You've got Uchenna Nwosu right now. He had a really good year last year, played at a borderline Pro Bowl level. Boye Mafe, who I have a lot of belief in going forward, developing into a great every down player. Darrell Taylor has value in this league. I know he's not everything we want him to be, but he belongs in this league. And you've got Alton Robinson coming off an injury last year. Alton Robinson, he flashed. He flashed pretty well that rookie year. It's been a while since he's flashed, admittedly. But you're looking at this and you're going, okay, you've got a stud, a known stud in Nwosu, a young guy who showed promise last year who should develop significantly just because of age and experience. You've got a part-time player who gives you quite a bit in terms of pass rush in Taylor. And then you've got Alton Robinson, who it's been a couple years, but he's shown stuff. And then, by the way, you still have Tyreek Smith, who I'm not a big fan of, but can he play 8 to 10 snaps a game? And I'm going to be okay with that, of course. And then you've got Chris Garrett, which, whatever. And Onu Giogu as well. I'm not going to say too much about those two guys, but you're not bad. However, two things. One, I think edge is a position you can always get better at pretty much no matter what. You should always think about getting better at edge. It's a position where you can never really have enough. Number two, this is an excellent edge crop. So let's dive in on the edge prospects, and we're going to start at the very top with, in my opinion, the best overall player in this class. It is Will Anderson Jr. of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's spend a few minutes on this guy. There is a scenario starting to develop in the draft where we may end up having the opportunity to get Will Anderson. I'm saying it right now. There is very, very realistic possibilities of the top four of the draft ending up going quarterback, 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 quarterback. Very possible. So, 21 years old, still very young, 6'3.5", 253 pounds. Kind of your classic 3-4 edge outside linebacker size. Almost 34-inch arms, almost 10-inch hands. Pretty good, pretty long there. The only thing he did at the combine was his 40, which was good enough. 4.6 with a 1.6, 110-yard split. Not super duper good for an edge rusher. There are definitely guys who do the 4.5. Even sometimes now we're getting 4.4. But 4.6. Look, Will Anderson is not a pure speed guy anyway. He's not Von Miller. He's not somebody who just rushes around the edge and gets he's constantly getting around offensive linemen. He's a power guy anyway. People are trying to compare Will Anderson to a Von Miller, but he's more of a Khalil Mack if you're trying to compare styles. So, the big boards. Every major big board has him in the top 3. A couple have him number 1. Actually, 3 have him number 1. The mock draft database has him at 3 overall, so this is a top 3 pick. And if you're able to get him at 5, I think that's phenomenal value. I'll say that right up front here. You look at the last 2 seasons, obviously he was much better in 2021. 2022, most people kind of think he knew he was going to be a top 3 pick or top 5 pick, and he didn't give complete maximum effort. But Some people are going to have things to say about that. I'm not really going to say anything about it. He still had a really good year. He gave you 10 sacks in 13 games. He averaged well over a tackle for loss a game, 51 tackles in 13 games, part of one of the best defenses in the nation. Previous year, yes, he was better, but I'm not going to read a whole bunch into him dropping off in 2022 when I think what happened was he just knew that he was going to be a massive, massive prospect in the draft, and he wasn't looking to get himself hurt when he already knew he had that draft status locked up. I'm okay with that. Once he gets into the NFL, he's playing for his next contract. And like I said, the thing with Will Anderson to understand the most is that he is a strength player. He wins with strength. He's just an absolute monster against the pass and against the run. And he's going to win just based off that at first. And eventually, he's going to develop into a more multifaceted rusher. The thing that really stands out to me with him is that he's going to be so good against the run and the pass. He's strong and physical enough to disrupt blocking schemes against the run. He doesn't dart in there and hit the running back. He blows up the blocking scheme. He throws himself into the blockers and just completely disrupts what they were trying to do. So he's not somebody who has to be the guy who knifes in to make the play. He can do that, but he's also somebody who's just going to blow up the blocking scheme. He's excellent on twists and stunts. You watch the tape from Alabama, all kinds of plays where he starts on one side, goes to the other side. He's got a very nice combo of power and quickness. Like he doesn't necessarily have the quickness of a Von Miller, like I said, but the fact that he's quick as he is with the power that he has is just off the charts incredible. He's aligned in multiple different positions. He was doing 3-tech and 4-tech stuff at Alabama as well as edge work. 2021 was, again, his banner season. He gave you over 100 tackles, 31 for loss, 17.5 sacks. If you look at what he did that year, there should be no doubt about what he's capable of. And that was when he was younger. That was when he was younger than he is now. He's pretty explosive off the snap. He's plus character. You don't have the Jalen Carter concerns with this guy. Like, Will Anderson is not somebody you have to worry about not getting it mentally, not being able to do all the things that he should be able to do from a physical standpoint. He is a plus character guy. You combine that with his great production in college. There's very little you can question about this guy. The only thing you can really question about Will Anderson is that right now he wins mostly because he's just stronger and more physical than everyone else. He runs people over. He uses his superior strength. That's not going to work as well in the NFL. He is going to have to add more to his pass rush repertoire, but he's so young, I have no doubt he's going to be able to. He's going to be able to add the swim move. He's going to be able to add, the up and under. He's going to be able to add those things over time. They're not there yet. And he doesn't have elite bend. Like I said, this is not Von Miller. This is more of a Khalil Mack. This is somebody who's going to win with power more than speed. And initially, because of that, I think he won't be as productive as some people were hoping. But I think he's still going to be very productive as even a rookie. So he's the top player on my big board. I think he'll have a nice big impact as a rookie. And give it a year, maybe 2 years, he should develop into an all-pro level edge player. He's going to be versatile. He's going to be very impactful against the run. He's excellent against the run. He's excellent against the pass. And he will single-handedly transform a defense. So I think he's the best player in the draft. I would say he's my favorite guy to get at 5 right now. If we come away from this draft with Will Anderson, I'm feeling very good, very comfortable. No doubt in my mind that we just got a huge difference maker with our number 5 overall selection. All right, next up, we have the other edge player that we could take at number 5. It's Tyree Wilson of Texas Tech. But here's the thing. This is also going to be an important element of this series on edge players. It's identifying who the edge players actually are. I will tell you right now, there are going to be a decent chunk of guys that we look at in this series of evaluating edge pass rushers, where we find a guy who very clearly won't be able to be a 3-4 edge. Like if you try to play them at outside linebacker in a 3-4, it's not going to work. They're too big, they're too slow, they don't have enough burst, they're not going to be able to do some of the coverage stuff. It just isn't going to make sense. They need to play with their hand in the dirt. So there are going to be guys that we look at, plenty of guys over the next several days, where you look at them and you just know, yeah, this is not going to work. They're going to have to, if we drafted them, they would need to play inside as a defensive end, one of the 3-4 ends. Or the alternative would be, oh, they're just not going to work with us. We need to draft somebody else because they don't fit the defense. This is going to be a great example of that. Tyree Wilson. He's listed as an edge on pretty much every site. Every site that I see considers him an edge. But when I watch him play, I don't see Von Miller, Khalil Mack, Aldon Smith. I see J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt, I mean, he played on the inside. So Tyree Wilson, I like him a lot. And I'm going to say that I'm okay, although I don't love the idea of taking him at 5. But he needs to play inside primarily. I think he can be like a J.J. Watt, but you play him at the edge, I don't think it's going to work out that well. 6'6", 271 pounds, 35 and 5/8 inch arms, incredibly long arms, 9 and 5/8 inch hands. 23 years old, we don't really love that, a little bit on the older side. Only did bench press at the combine, he did 23 of them though. Every big board still has him top 10. A couple have him top 5. His aggregate position is 6, so he's right in the pocket at number 5. He is. 2022, he only played 10 games, but he still gave you 14 tackles for loss and 7 sacks, 61 tackles. The year before, he gave you 38 tackles in 13 games, but about the same number of plays made in the backfield. So he did improve a little bit in terms of efficiency in 2022. So Tyree Wilson was a guy who was successful playing inside and outside in college. He lined up on the inside and he lined up as an edge at Texas Tech, and he was good in both roles. So on that level, yeah, he can give you that versatility, and I do think he'll give you a little bit of that versatility in the pros as well. And the other thing that really stands out is just those incredibly long pythons he calls arms. That's going to help him a ton. He's an expert at shedding blocks. He's a great block shedder. He's excellent at getting blocked, pushing the blocker out of the way, and then making the play on the running back or making a play on the quarterback. He's got a deadly bull rush because he's just so strong. He collapses the pocket from the inside when he's rushing from the interior. He's got massive knockback on offensive linemen. He just completely collapses the pocket that way. And he is a good enough athlete to do things like chase down plays from the backside. He's good on those twists and stunts that you have defensive linemen run sometimes, where they start on one side, go to the other side, try to confuse the blockers. He's good at that kind of stuff. But looking at him as a prospect, if you're telling me you're taking Tyree Wilson at number 5 overall to be an edge rusher, I'm going to look at him and I'm going to say he's not that quick off the snap. There were some plays I looked at where he was the last guy to get his hand out of the dirt, out of all the linemen on both sides. Slow off the snap, not much bend, very limited bend. He will struggle with leverage because he's so tall. And, you know, that's an issue that he'll deal with on the inside and outside. But generally speaking, I think that some of his flexibility as an inside-outside player will be lost in the NFL. I think that he should probably put on a little bit of weight and become an inside primary player, an inside rusher, i.e. somebody who would play 3-4 end. And I actually think Tyree Wilson's skill set is perfect for 3-4 end. This is exactly what I'm looking for, but he's going to have to be willing to commit to it. So there are issues. Most of the issues are pretty easy to take care of as long as he doesn't play outside very much. So if he's willing to accept the role of being an interior defender with some edge flexibility, I'm okay taking him at 5. Now, I don't love it. I'm not crazy about it, but I'm okay with taking Tyree Wilson at 5. There are enough other things going on with him to where I wouldn't love it, like the age, the lack of bend. He's not super explosive. He's somebody who kind of wins gradually compared to a guy like a Will Anderson who wins immediately. But I would hope that this guy understands that his calling in the NFL is to play on the interior. And if he does that, I actually think he's perfect for what we need. But if you look at him as an edge player, an edge rusher, I'm sorry, to me, he's like a mid to late first round pick, maybe. Because then you're getting like the Michael Bennett experience. But to me, this guy's like the inverse Michael Bennett. He should be primarily inside with a little bit of outside. So, assuming the best case scenario, he's an acceptable but kind of dull selection at 5. I'm not going to pretend like it's amazing. I'm not going to pretend like anybody should be excited about it, but it's good enough. All right, more videos coming later today. See you guys. Go Hawks.